Distinguished guests, we would now like to begin session 2, exploring the future Bangladesh-Japan economic cooperation in a time of transition. May I request to take to the stage the keynote presenter, Dr. Yasushi Ueki, President at Bangkok Research Center, ID JETRO. May I also invite the distinguished panelists for this session, Mr. Said Yusuf Sadat, economist, UNDP, Mr. Tariq Rafi Bhuya, President, Japan Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industries, Mr. Kazuki Kataoka, Country Representative, Japan External Trade Organization, Bangladesh, Mr. Mohammad Fazul Haq, former President BKMA and Managing Director of Plummy Fashions Limited, and Dr. M. Masroor Riaz, Chairman, Policy Exchange of Bangladesh.
Should we start? Okay, I am asked to moderate this session. Thank you, Dr. Fahmida Khatun, for allowing me to moderate this session. So I request all panelists and speakers to take your seat at the dais. So we have two keynote presentations at the beginning, one on Bangladesh-Japan FTA knowledge transfer for sustainable industrialization, lessons from ASEAN and East by Dr. Yasushi Ueki, President, Bangkok Research Center, ID JETRO. And the second one on Bangladesh-Japan EPA opportunity, challenges and future outlook by Dr. Fahmida Khatun. First, on the first, I would like to request Mr. Yasushi Ueki for making his presentation on sustainable industrialization knowledge transfer.
Hi. Thank you very much for inviting me here. It's very great honor to come to Bangladesh. For me, this is my first visit too. I'm not familiar with what you are interested in, but I'm based in Bangkok now, and I used to study on the industrial agglomeration and also extension of the production network. Which I have done about 10 years ago. But I think Bangladesh is interested in integrating itself into the Japanese supply chains. So I think we can learn from the ASEAN member states' experiences and also the Japanese operation there, how Japanese companies try to integrate the less developed countries in ASEAN into the ASEAN or East Asian production network. So today's main topics is about that. But in addition, I would like to add some new issues that we should take into consideration. So today's my talk is based on the two reports, particularly based on the area's Comprehensive Asian Development Plan 2.0 that was published about 12 years ago. I was in charge of making this report in area in Jakarta. And then also I would like to mention briefly about a new concept of industrial development that was we proposed to the T20 South Africa. So I don't know how familiar you are about Southeast Asia. So today's topics covers mainly Mekong region. So centered by the Bangkok or surrounding industrial district. So Japanese government, also the Japanese companies in collaboration with Mekong countries try to link the industrial district in this region, or how we discussed how we disperse the industrial activities from Thailand to the neighboring countries. So this is a more simplified graph. And then, so in Thailand, we have a big industrial agglomeration in Bangkok area and also the eastern seaboard area, so-called. In this figure, we can see the Rem Japan, which has the biggest container port in Thailand. There's also the industrial district in Malaysia, and also the Ho Chi Minh area and Hanoi area in Vietnam. And there's also the growing region in Laos and so on, and the Yangon areas. So as we discussed, JICA and the Japanese government have supported to develop the infrastructure to stimulate the industrial FDIs and also the industrial agglomerations. Particularly, we can see that later we show that Japanese government supported the construction of the or upgrading of the seaport in Cambodia or Vietnam, and those in addition tried to upgrade the road network to link the populated suburban areas where also the Japanese private corporations, trading companies also created industrial estate to absorb the FDIs from Japan. So, to make this kind of concept of the creation of the production network more successful, we need to know that how a company operates the new factories in the new production site where that the government promote based on their own industrial policy. So I studied this kind of mechanism about 10 years ago. So we can see I think you are very familiar, now that very familiar with the experiences in ASEAN. So, but if we look at the pattern of the industrial development, just particularly the FDI-led development pattern, we can see that similar procedures like this. So first government and in collaboration with the international organization and also the foreign government develop infrastructure, then promote the FDI. And then if the country succeeded in attracting FDI by big companies, then to open the very big assembly plants, then their tier one supplier will also make an investment to open the factories for assembling parts and the components for their lead farm. And then if this policy and also the investment was successful, then more investment or FDIs comes to develop a supporting industry. But still, there are many countries also struggling in developing SMEs, as we discussed in the first session. So the cooperation for local supplier development is also indispensable to make this mechanism more sustainable. Then if participation of the local suppliers in international supply chain become realities, then they can learn from the FDIs. Then this new industrial district can enter into the virtuous circles or create a kind of industrial agglomeration forces. Then over-agglomeration also creates a dispersion force that also encourages the country to upgrade the industry and also disperse their low value-added activities to the suburban area inside the country or neighboring countries. So if we review the Thailand policy from the 60s, we see that we can summarize from the two viewpoints. First one is the horizontal axis showing the distance from the Bangkok or spatial extension, and a vertical axis shows the level of innovations. So innovation here means not necessarily depend on the R&D, as someone asked, but I want to emphasize the importance of the concept of innovation without R&D. That is quite important. most of the countries and most of the companies don't invest in R&D in person and also in cash. So in terms of cash. So, but many countries also achieve the productivity improvement, and also the companies without formal R&D also achieve a productivity improvement and raising more profit. So that is based on the kind of Kaizen activity or continuous improvement. So that's a very basic and also basic and less costly investment in a sense, for the, particularly for the SME, to achieve the improvement. So in case of Thailand, so they started the import substitution as Bangladesh, also Thailand considered import substitution is quite important, but it was also very restrictive to the private sector to expand their activities. So the government changed their policy orientation to the export promotion in 80s. And that, and also luckily, that is the same period as Japan faced on the Japanese inflation after the Plus Accord. So that Japanese companies made FDIs outside of Japan to relocate the production site. And then 90s, JICA and also the government of Japan collaborated with Thailand to develop Eastern Seaboard area, particularly making investment in the infrastructure to make an improvement of the connectivity between the Bangkok area and the Eastern Seaboard area. Then taxing administration also formulated the industrial clustering policies in the 2000, around 2000 period. That encouraged the so-called functional upgrading. So based on the Kaizen activities or the human resource development activities, starting the period of particularly in the 90s, Thailand succeeded in upgrading industrial activities. Then that causes problems also too, like lack of human resources, particularly labor forces. So Thailand also, and Japanese particularly company in Thailand also encourage the spatial expansion to go beyond the border area to secure the production site that supports the Thailand manufacturing too. So that is happened in the 2010s. And then also Thailand created a so-called EEC strategy, Eastern Economic Corridor Development strategies in the middle of the 2010. And then they try to create the new knowledge industry-based industry and also new technologies-based industry. That is the history of Thailand. So always Thailand tried to decentralize, or tried to solve the over-congestion in the Thailand area, Bangkok area. And that was happened in collaboration with Japan and other stakeholders. And then to overcome the kind of congestion, or to improve the competitiveness on the value added, Thailand also tried to extend the production network, in this case in collaboration with countries in the sub-region. So this is, you are familiar with Eastern Seaboard area. So this is a simple figure that shows that what kind of restructuring has improved to attract private investment. And then the issue is that the point is that the manufacturing industry started in Thailand near Bangkok area, but to decrease congestion, the government relocated manufacturing activities outside the Bangkok area. So, but still, that the new industry Eastern Seaboard area is connected with Bangkok to that where that provide technical support and also marketing support, etc. And this is a distance, a special area that the Japanese companies reached from the Bangkok area to Phnom Penh. So Japanese companies extended the supply chains by 700 kilometers using the land transportation. And then they have a special, some of the companies received a special support from the Cambodian government to realize this supply chains. And then, what I want to emphasize, so today's topic is a bilateral EPA. If we look at the industrialization in Cambodia, we normally focusing on the Cambodia itself only. And if we talk about the so-called Thai +1 strategy, that is based on this concept. Having the Thai +1 means that by keeping the production in Thailand, company create a kind of satellite factory to provide parts and components from Thailand and assemble the product and send back to Thailand for the final production assemblies. So we need to think that where the new factory source the parts and the components and the necessary knowledge. So Thailand +1 means that Bangkok area and also Eastern Seaboard area provide this kind of new knowledge, and also the parts and the components and the materials that new factory in Cambodia need. But if we look at carefully the particular case of the FDIs, the situation is not so simple as the concept of the Thai +1. So particularly in case of the one of the electric parts component producers in Phnom Penh, they use the Ayutthaya area, northern part of the Bangkok metropolitan area, as a sourcing base for the new plant in Cambodia. But this company relocated the production not only from Thailand, but also from Malaysia and China. So the technical support was provided from the original production site, like Malaysia, Thailand, and China to Phnom Penh, while this company procure parts and components from Thailand, through Thailand. So we need to think how we can take advantage of bilateral EPAs. Of course, Japan-Bangladesh relationship will be a basis, but if we think about the current operational status or resources that each company has, they don't necessarily have enough capability or resources supporting a new factory in Bangladesh, for example. So, or even Japanese company may not have the parts and the components that Bangladesh need to produce a product for Japanese market.
Mr. Wiki, can you please short your presentation in 5 minutes?
At 2 minutes. Okay. I have to conclude, right? So, what I want to emphasize is connectivity is quite important. Not only the physical infrastructure, but also the institutional infrastructure connectivity and also people-to-people connectivity. For the policy coordination is quite important, but to simplify, ASEAN member states create special economic zones. And then, so now, 50 years ago, so Japanese factory played a role of so-called mother factory to transfer the knowledge and technology and everything to Thailand and other developing countries. Now that this function is partially relocated to the advanced developing countries to support the other affiliated companies. So that's a quite important phenomenon you need to understand. And also, why Japanese companies relocate, take a so-called Thai plus one strategy. One of the easy understanding is to upgrade. For companies, they need a kind of space and resources to upgrade their activities in Thailand. So instead of keeping the production in Thailand, they relocate this kind of low value added activities to Cambodia to create a new space for the new more value added product. So in that way, so we need to think that how companies try to sell the value added product from different locations. And then if their decision, if the company choose Bangladesh as a production site, then I think we can expect that Japanese suppliers may make this kind of rearrangement of the production site in the world. So we need to think that how Japanese company try to increase the profit by making use of Bangladesh, for example. So to understand this, we need to think about the global operation of the Japanese supply chain. So that is a quite important message for that. And to participate in the Japanese supply chain, that is a quite difficult part for any countries and any companies. And then what I found from my study is that the company doing Kaizen activities will satisfy the QCD requirement, quality control requirement, cost requirement, delivery requirement. But important is that whether company have kind of internal knowledge sharing processes to make innovations without R&D is very important for the Japanese buyers or suppliers to teach the potential Bangladesh suppliers. Otherwise, without this kind of internal systems, if the Japanese company teach these companies, but they cannot keep improving. So Japanese suppliers or Japanese buyers request 3% cost reduction annually, for example. Without that expectation, company cannot ask the Bangladesh companies coming into their production network. That are quite important issues. And then this data sharing, the knowledge sharing mechanism also work for the knowledge sharing or data sharing based on the digital technologies. So having a strong base of the Kaizen activities, companies share the data inside the company, also beyond the companies, to make a continuous improvement. And then digital automation is also a very important technology now. So I have to finish my presentation. But I want to say that simple automation keeps the inefficient production. That's automation. Robot automate the inefficient production. So that ineffective investment for the company. So the Japanese companies propose firstly making a Kaizen, and then if necessary, company need to make an investment in digital technology or automation. So under Japanese government support this kind of activity in Thailand. And also that simple visualization of data plus Kaizen activity also supports the significant cost reduction too, and also the cost, not only the cost, but also the reduction of the electric consumption and also the contributing to the decarbonization. So that's quite important. And then finally, we are now proposing a new concept. We are now following the kind of Japanese experiences. You are trying to follow the Japanese experiences. That shows the red arrow. So we are starting from the industrial revolution happened in UK, and then make a mass production, and then automate the production system, and then we introducing digital technologies to make a significant improvement. But now that the developing countries not only follow this kind of experiences or the model, but also you can use the digital technologies from the beginning to going back to the process that developed country achieved. And the last message for me from myself is, so as ADB guy mentioned that circular economy or economic, not only the economic sustainability, also the environmental sustainability is quite important. So in the past, all of the countries experienced the environmental problems after achieving industrialization. Then they are trying to try to develop solutions. But now you can start the development of both the productive supply chain and also the green supply chain development simultaneously to achieve the circular economy. And I think that even the green supply chain or reverse supply chain are based on the QCD and the safety and the environment protection. That very common knowledge to the productive supply chain. So by understanding both the Japanese concept of the productive management, I think developing countries will not experience serious environmental destructions in the process of the industrialization. So that's my topics that I can provide. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm very sorry for the talking 5 minutes over.
Thank you, Mr. Oeki, for your elaborate presentation. Now we'll have a group photo. Just a moment. Second presentation by Dr. Fahmi Khatun.
Thank you, Dr. Manzoor. So I'll be very brief because much has been discussed, and what I'm going to say have also been dealt in details by the previous speakers and presenters as well. So this presentation, you have a larger presentation in your folder, but what I have done here that I have reduced the slides substantially to keep up to the time, but the details are there, and many of you know what I'll be talking. So just this is about Bangladesh-Japan EPA opportunities, challenges, and future outlook. And I have a team who worked with me, Ms. Afrin Mahbub, Pritilata Khondokar Haq, Sadia Afrin. So to start with, as many speakers have mentioned, that Bangladesh and Japan share a long-standing economic and development partnership that has evolved significantly over the past 5 decades or so. And Japan has been Bangladesh's largest bilateral development partner, supporting infrastructure development, industrialization, education, health, and socio-economic resilience. And trade and investment had been two important pillars of this relationship. And these relationship in the areas of trade and investment have expanded steadily over time. However, many of you have mentioned about the imminent LDC graduation for Bangladesh, and after graduation, since Bangladesh is going to be losing its preferential market access in the developed countries' markets, the challenge comes for Bangladesh how to navigate this challenging time. And in this context, Bangladesh-Japan Economic Partnership Agreement becomes particularly important for sustaining trade, investment, and economic cooperation between the two countries. I'll just very briefly, I wouldn't go into detail, but just a snapshot on the Japan-Bangladesh trade. If you look at the exports, that how steadily it has been increasing. Initially, it was so much low in the 1970s, and now it has really gone up to high, so high. In the 1970s and 80s, it was below 75 billion. Now in 2024, it has gone up to 1.26 billion. And in case of imports as well, the import had also rose from 78 million in the early 1970s to nearly $2 billion in 2024, which reflects Japan's role as a key supplier of machinery, capital goods, and industrial inputs. And the LDC graduation, why it is so important and challenging, because currently Bangladesh enjoys duty-free quota-free market access to many developed countries, as I have mentioned earlier, and after graduation, these preferences will be gradually withdrawn. For example, if you look at the ready-made garments exported to Japan, that may face tariffs in the range of 7.4 to 12.8%. Footwear exports could face tariffs as high as 22% to 175%. So on the other hand, we also know that in 2015, Bangladesh has graduated from low-income country to lower middle-income country according to the World Bank category, so which had made concessional finance difficult now. So we are seeing that over time, the amount of concessional finance has declined because of this graduation. So the opportunities of the EPA, EPA has been designed, as we have discussed also, that it's designed to strengthen economic cooperation through trade liberalization, investment promotion, and regulatory coordination. And under this agreement, 7,379 Bangladeshi products will receive immediate duty-free access to the Japanese market, covering approximately 97% of Bangladesh's exports. And on the other hand, Bangladesh will grant duty-free access to 1,039 Japanese products, while many additional products will see tariffs gradually reduced over time. These are just snapshots. There are details in the agreement. You must have gone through all these, and it has been discussed widely as well. And the agreement opens 97 Bangladeshi service subsectors to Japan and 120 Japanese subsectors to Bangladesh, facilitating service trade and investment. And one particularly important feature is that the single-stage transformation rules for garments, which allows Bangladesh to import fabrics from other countries, assemble garments domestically, and still qualify for duty-free access to Japan. This provision is significantly important. It strengthens Bangladesh's competitiveness in the Japanese apparel markets. The expected benefits, there are many, but just to summarize, that first, the agreement will improve market access for Bangladeshi exports, reducing tariff barriers and making Bangladeshi products more competitive in the Japanese market. Secondly, the EPA can attract greater foreign direct investment from Japan. Currently, Japan is the 9th largest investor in Bangladesh, and the agreement may encourage additional investment in manufacturing, infrastructure, logistics, and energy. Third, increased Japanese investment can facilitate technology transfer, skills development, and productivity improvements, which will help Bangladesh move up global value chains. And finally, the EPA can support export diversification, encouraging growth in sectors beyond garments. Now, looking at the investments, so our main focus here is the Japanese investment in Bangladesh. Just to give a snapshot how it has increased, like trade investment has also grown steadily from Japan. Japanese FDI inflows began increasing significantly after 2009 and reached to 99 million in 2013, with similar levels again recorded in 2022. Of course, there was a temporary decline in 2023, but it rebounded to 56 million in 2025. At the same time, the total stock of Japanese FDI, that also reached to 499 million in 2025, which highlights Japan's expanding investment presence in the country. So much of this investments has been contracted in sectors such as fertilizer, gas, petroleum, power generation, and manufacturing. So these are just a trend to show that where the investment and how it has behaved. Now, we will focus 3 sectors where there are investment opportunities. One is vehicle and transport sector. So again, very briefly, Bangladesh's vehicle and transport sector presents significant opportunities for Japanese investment. In 2025, Bangladesh imported vehicles worth approximately 385 million, which made the vehicles in the country. This is the 3rd largest import category. So from Japan, Japanese companies such as Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Mitsubishi, Suzuki, and Mazda dominate global automobile production and already have a strong presence in Bangladesh. And local production and assembly could reduce costs, improving supply chains, and also expanding domestic manufacturing. The establishment of Japanese Special Economic Zone in Arai Hazar also provides important fiscal incentives, including corporate tax exemptions and duty-free imports of machinery. So there are a lot of opportunities in that sector. The second sector we are looking into is that leather and leather products. Nasim is here, so he knows much more than us about the prospects of leather investment in the leather sector. Bangladesh's leather exports reached to 1.3 billion in 2022-23, and which accounts for about 3% of the total exports. The sector offers strong potential for value-added production, export diversification, and technology upgradation. So the government also provides a lot of incentives, which includes tax holidays, export subsidies, duty-free import of capital machinery, bonded warehouse facilities. So Japanese investment could help improve product quality and integrate Bangladesh more deeply into global value chains. Here, the graphs and the tables show how it has been increasing with some fluctuations and how the contribution of the leather sector in the Bangladesh's export basket. The third area of opportunity is the chemical and pharmaceutical sectors. Bangladesh's pharmaceutical industry is one of the fastest growing sectors in the economy, and the country has emerged as a major exporter of generic medicines, contributing to 1.8% to the national GDP. So, however, the production costs are estimated to be about 15% lower in India than in India and China, which provides a strong competitive advantage. And Japanese companies could invest in active pharmaceutical ingredients, API production, supported by a dedicated API industrial park in Munshiganj and strong fiscal incentives. So here also we see an opportunity for investment. So the graphs also shows the trend. Now, other areas, there are also other areas for collaboration. So beyond trade and investment, Bangladesh and Japan are also strengthening cooperation in several other areas, which include education and academic exchange, IT skills development, healthcare, and caregiving cooperation. These initiatives support knowledge transfer, human capital development, and long-term economic cooperation. However, there are some key challenges which must be addressed. Regulatory and bureaucratic barriers remain a major obstacles for investors. Establishing business in Bangladesh may require more than 20 different licenses and approvals, which increases costs and delays the process. Infrastructure constraints is another bottleneck, particularly electricity shortage, transport bottlenecks, and port inefficiencies. They raise the production costs. In addition, Japan maintains very strict quality and safe standards, which requires improvements in Bangladesh's regulatory and inspection system. Finally, tariff reduction under the EPA could result in short-term revenue losses for the government. Some recommendations briefly. So if we really want to maximize the benefits from the EPA, Bangladesh needs a comprehensive policy response. First, the government should improve the investment climate by simplifying business registration and licensing procedure. Secondly, customs and trade facilitation reforms should focus on digitization, risk-based inspection, and streamlined clearance procedures. Third, Bangladesh must strengthen industrial competitiveness through technology adoption, skills development, and quality certification system. Fourth, investment in energy, transport infrastructure, and logistics will be critical for supporting industrial growth. And finally, fiscal reforms should be there so that the tax base can be broadened, and it should improve the revenue collection to offset potential tariff revenue losses which will happen. Finally, in conclusion, I would like to emphasize that Bangladesh-Japan EPA represents a major step forward in bilateral economic cooperation. As Bangladesh prepares for LDC graduation, the agreement provides an opportunity to expand exports, attract investment, and promote industrial transformation. However, the success of the EPA will depend on Bangladesh's ability to implement complementary reforms, strengthen competitiveness, and improve the overall investment environment. So with right policies and strategic engagement, the EPA can play a crucial role in helping Bangladesh transition towards a more diversified, technology-driven, and globally integrated economy. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fahmida. I think you made a very pertinent points how to make the EPA more successful in the coming days. I think it was an excellent presentation. Now I am coming back to our panelist. First of all, I would like to request Mr. Syed Yusuf Sadat, he is an economist at UNDP, for his remarks. We have 5 minutes.
Thank you, moderator, and thank you, the Embassy of Japan and the Center for Policy Dialogue for inviting me to this wonderful discussion on the Bangladesh-Japan Economic Cooperation. The Bangladesh-Japan Economic Partnership, as you know, has been recently signed agreement, and this marks a clear shift in the relationship between Bangladesh and Japan, where we once started with a primarily aid-dependent kind of development cooperation partnership, whereas now we're moving more towards a rules-based economic partnership anchored in trade, investment, and technology. And Bangladesh and Japan, as many of you already know, are very different countries. Bangladesh is a labor-abundant, young population which is growing and which specializes in the production of labor-intensive goods, whereas Japan is a declining population, largely aging population, specializing in the production of capital-intensive goods. So there is significant demographic and economic complementarity between the two countries, and so this partnership, I believe, will be very mutually beneficial for both countries. But in trade negotiations and in international trade in general, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And after 7 rounds of negotiation, what we got is trade liberalization and market access. We got a predictable pathway to maintain competitiveness in the Japanese market beyond our LDC graduation. And we got an opportunity for diversifying into other sectors such as agro-processing, pharmaceuticals, ICT, and so on. We also got deeper cooperation in services, investment, and technology transfer, and this is critical for Bangladesh to go up the value chains and go into production of more higher value-added goods and upgrade its industrial infrastructure. And finally, what we got is a broader governance architecture. And if you look at the agreement, you'll see there's competition policy, there's intellectual property, labor standards, and so on. But to make this agreement more successful, going forward, what we need is stronger mechanisms for technology transfer and the development of industrial capabilities. Trade agreements typically focus on tariffs and market access, but Bangladesh's long-term competitiveness depends on learning, innovation, and productivity growth. And so structured programs with Japanese firms and Bangladeshi universities and research institutions would significantly benefit Bangladesh. There's also a scope to deepen cooperation in human capital development. Previously also some of the presenters have mentioned that it's the humans who make the change really. So human capital development is another area that we can work on in the future based on this agreement. And the third aspect is the green and sustainable industrialization. While we are industrializing, there's a tendency in Bangladesh not to I wouldn't say not to, but the industrialization in Bangladesh has not been particularly high-tech. And apart from RMG, it has not been all that environment friendly either. So those are two areas, I think, where we can work more. And of course, trade agreements open doors for countries, but the countries themselves must have the capacity to walk through these doors. And because of this, we believe that the Bangladesh-Japan agreement gives us a good starting point, but we must build on this, and we must build the capacity of negotiators in Bangladesh to negotiate more trade agreements with more countries, and hopefully eventually set up our own trade negotiations cell, something similar to the United States Trade Representative here in Bangladesh, so that we can promote our national interests in other countries and secure market access after LDC graduation. So I think the Bangladesh-Japan agreement, partnership agreement, will bring in a new era of innovation, investment, and inclusive growth. And hopefully this will be a positive example for economic cooperation between a developed country and a least developed country for the whole world. So thank you.
Thank you so much for timely completion of your remarks. Now I would request Mr. Tarek Rafi Bhuiya, President, Japan Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industries, for your remarks.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Dr. Manzoor, for giving me the floor. I would like to thank the embassy and also CPD for calling me in this panel discussion. So yes, we are all very excited about this EPA that has been signed. So a few things that I would like to talk about, like why this EPA is historic, and it is a timely lifeline for Bangladesh. I will not go into the details that 97% of the current exports and all those kind of things, but thing is from day one we will have this benefit for the garments and for the single stage transformation and rule of origin. Japan also gains phased access to about 1,039 Bangladeshi tariff lines, also 120 subsectors. So this actually gives the signal that Bangladesh is actually a long-term and predictable partner. So the China plus one, we have been hearing this for a very long time, now can become reality with the relocation of different Japanese factories to Bangladesh. So EPA is not just a trade agreement, it is insurance policy for Bangladesh against the LDC graduation and a bridge to a higher level FDI growth driven models. And then, we're going to talk about the immediate priorities for the Bangladeshi businesses. There is the rule of origin compliance. So garment factories must understand and implement this single stage transformation quickly. Many are not still yet ready for this. Then also product and market diversification. We have to definitely move beyond RMG, we talked about it, to higher value apparel, home textile, leather goods, and also light engineering, pharma, plastic, and processed goods. Many of the speakers also spoke about these things before me also. Again, the quality and the compliance upgrading is extremely important. Japanese buyer actually demands very strict sustainability, labor, environmental standard, as well as the quality. So we have to be ready for that. The SME readiness, most of the SMEs actually lack the awareness, the finance, and the technical capacity. So we must play a role in that through workshop and matchmakings. So EPA opens the door, but only the factories that invest in compliance, quality, and diversification will walk through it. So we have to understand that. Then Japanese FDI, realistic expectation in the priority sectors. FDI, because the priority sector that we see from JBCCI, that the garments and textile backward linkage is very important, like fabric, accessories, and dyeing. Automotive and electronic components assembly is also extremely important. We feel that we must stay working on that. Light engineering and plastics, of course, the renewable energy, green tech, food processing and packagings are also very, very important. BSEZ, the good thing in BSEZ we are seeing that in the last 1.5 years we did not see much investment, but after this new government came, we are seeing a lot of new companies coming to BSEZ and talking, so we are hopeful that there will be more investment happening from there very soon. So Japanese companies are actually watching very closely about what the EPA is going to do. So it gives them confidence, but we have to deliver with the infrastructure, policy predictability, and ease of doing business. So if we can do this well, then we are hopeful that we'll have 200 to 500 million annually in the next 3 to 5 years. Also, the figure that came, like FDI stock so far, is 500 million. Actually, if we include the Japan tobacco investment, it is 2 billion plus so far. But we are hopeful that it's going to really reach a lot higher number in the near future. Then also we have to think that Japan is actually cautious. Japanese firms are pretty risk averse, so they are very much concerned about the infrastructure, logistics, energy reliability, labor disputes, and policy continuity. So we must strengthen the service of the BIDA, the single window that we have been talking about. Hopefully it's going to be much better. We have to increase and expand the BSEZ model. It is showing some good success. We have to offer the long-term land lease and tax holidays. Also, we have to improve the power reliability, green supply energy, and all those kind of things. So Japanese investors move slowly, but actually when they invest, they stay long. So once the trust is built, they will definitely bring the technology, discipline, supply chain integration that transforms the industries. Also, beyond the trade and FDI, we have to think about the technology transfer, skills, and green transition. So for that, potential cooperation can come from JICA technical cooperation projects like TVET, joint R&D sustainable, for textiles. And Japanese firms are training the Bangladeshi engineers and managers. So those things can actually, we should do more of those kind of things. And green hydrogen, then solar, circular economy partnerships, we can try to get those things also as much as possible. So EPA is not only goods crossing the border, it's about knowledge, skill, and green technology crossing the borders. The last thing I would like to say is, in the post LDC graduation, how EPA actually mitigates that. So we have to really have the increase, because we are having the increased competition from Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, India. So we have to have the policy stability, and EPA actually provides the long-term certainty that ODA alone cannot offer. So LDC graduation is a challenge, but EPA is our biggest asset in this transition. It buys us more time to diversify and upgrade, because some of these, the import subsidies, or sorry, the import tax, we need to actually make them to zero, but we have about 18 years to do that. So we are hopeful that a lot of the Japanese companies will make partnership with Bangladeshi companies and SMEs, so that we can become very competitive there, and EPA will really be having a long-term benefit for our country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tarek. Now I would like to request Mr. Fazlul Haq, former President, BKME and Managing Director, Plowme Fashions Limited, for your remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Manzoor. Good afternoon. I would like to limit my deliberation on specifically the apparel sector, and I will share my some practical experiences as well. So many of us may be not aware that the Japan is the second largest textile importer or apparel importer in the world. So that's the next to US. So many of us, that means that even the garment exporters we are exporting. I'm not mentioning you people. I'm mentioning ourselves. And so from that perspective, Japan is a huge potential for Bangladesh, even from the apparel sector. And we are exporting, as of now, less than $1.5 billion. So it is roughly 3% of our total apparel export across the world. So only 3% is a huge potential. And this EPA is giving the guarantee to run beyond the LDC era. And so there's a lot of opportunity waiting for us. But if I can share my experience, and the real challenges lie somewhere else. Somewhere else means that the effort you have to make to break the ice in Japanese market is not easy. It's not easy in that sense. If I can share my own experience, when I was president of BKMEA, the third term in 2009 and 2010, at that time there is a popular slogan, Japan is looking for China plus one. And we from BKMEA, we targeted this, okay, let's try to be the plus one. And we took a long-term effort supported by GIZ. At that time it was GTZ, it's a German corporation company. So they supported us, and I can remember that we took a 2 years project, and even in single year, in 2009, 2010, in 1 year, we had to go Japan at least 9 to 10 times, meeting the Japanese importers, meeting JETROs, meeting JICAs, meeting the newspaper representatives, all those who are related with the trade, to bring a Japanese delegation in Bangladesh, buyer delegation. And our continuous effort gave us a result that 67 Japanese importers came to see one of our trade show took place in 2010. So why I am mentioning this, it's an effort of 2 years. And only after that, we see a remarkable improvement in Japanese import from Bangladesh, and Japan incidentally declared the duty-free access in late 2010 or at beginning of 2011. So the mentality of Bangladeshi exporters, they always love to see that business negotiation within months, within even days, within weeks. And but for Japan, it is totally different story. So that the patience maybe we are lacking at this moment, and the effort, continuous effort, is also missing. Let's say we are participating in a fair, but from my practical experience, I can tell I told my colleagues several times, but they just listen. But there is no continuous effort in even from the government and the private sector, and EPA giving us a enormous opportunity to explore this. Still, I would like to say that unexplored market. There's only $1.4 billion. It's not enough to justify our strength in the Japanese market. So This EPA, I think, also give the Japanese importers a message that Bangladesh can be a trusted partner. This EPA itself, I think this is the chance with the Exporters Association, with the support from EPB, Ministry of Commerce and others, we have to draw a separate comprehensive continuous plan we can so that we can explore the Japanese market, and Japanese importers are very cautious about the quality, and initially we are very much afraid about that. Let's say, giving you as an example, if there is a order for 50,000 pieces, normally all the brands across the world, they just took the selected cartons and make the inspection, but Japanese importers do this totally different. They make every single piece inspection. Initially, everybody was scared that how it's possible we cannot be passed. But we successfully overcome that challenges, especially the mental blockage we could successfully overcome. And that gives a good message to Japanese importers that as a result of $1.5 billion, in one sense it is good, but if I consider the total potentiality, it is nothing. So I think I should tell that we have to do a lot of work, and as there are so many Japanese representatives here, that you can tell of also your side that Bangladesh is really a trusted part, as I already said, that EPA itself a big message to the Japanese counterparts that okay, Bangladesh is a trusted partner officially. So now it is our turn. I think I would like to blame ourselves first and most to be more united, comprehensive, and continuous effort to be paid to explore the Japanese market, and their opportunity is really enormous. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I will request Mr. Kazuiki Kataoka for his remarks.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate to listen to the wonderful presentation from the Dr. Ueki and Dr. Famida. I'm sorry I left a little bit for a few minutes due to another business, but I really appreciate it. And first of all, based on the presentation from Dr. Ueki, it was interesting that the pattern of national industrial development in East Asia, meaning the first step was infrastructure development, and after that, inflow of FDI by lead firms will come after that first step. So meaning from the perspective of our business, so the business involvement can be regarded as the infrastructure. So we have to improve the involvement to bring more investment from the foreign country. And today the topic, our seminar is focusing on the EPA. But on the other, but EPA itself doesn't necessarily contribute to the increase of FDI. And Dr. Famida mentioned that this Japan-Bangladesh EPA can mitigate the negative impact of LDC graduation. I really agree with it. So EPA can mitigate the negative impact, but Bangladesh already enjoys the duty-free access to the foreign market, particularly developed countries. So EPA itself doesn't necessarily contribute to the FDI, but it can be the good step to discuss about the improvement of big business development. And in regard to the Bangladesh and Japan business, Japan already has many EPA or FTAs with foreign countries. So I'd like to say that to bring more investment from foreign countries, including Japan, so to improve the business development is necessary. And in the EPA with Japan, there are some provision, not only on the tariff, but also several rules, including intellectual property and custom procedure, etc. So these rules have to be set after the EPA become effective, but the kind of like a discussion, or like a rule making, can be expected to bring more investment from Japan, to improve, to make a better business involvement here. So that is first one what I'd like to point out. And from the different perspective, now I serve as a Secretary General for Japanese Commerce and Industry Association in Dhaka. Today, so the president is here, and also chairman of the Business Promotion Committee is also here. So we are working particularly with BIDA to discuss about the business development in this country. That we already have 3 times a roundtable discussion with BIDA, and not only with BIDA, sometime Bangladesh Bank, and next time NBR will also join the discussion, so depending on the topic. But on the first discussion, we discussed about the visa and work permit, and second time we discussed about the repatriation, so to send the royalty or a profit to Japan or other regional headquarters. And next time we will discuss about the custom issues. So as a contribution to the business development in Bangladesh, we can share the information with the Bangladesh agency. The information means the Japanese existing investor are suffering from several issues. About the visa, repatriation, custom. We can share all of the information with the government, Bangladesh government. And I would like Bangladesh government, and particularly investment promotion agency, to utilize such information to make a better investment and to bring more investment from foreign countries. And lastly, I think that we should focus on our discussion to see the long term, meaning 10 years later, 20 years later. So EPA is, of course, this is a really important and a great step for Bangladesh and also from Japan, but we have to see the prospect, or we are the vision, how we would like to establish a business involvement for 10 years or 20 years. So now, in Bangladesh, in the politics, the government is discussing to extend LDC graduation for three years. Of course, that might be important or beneficial for the Bangladesh the business side, but we have to have a good involvement for 20 years, 30 years. Then 3 years transition or extension might give a limited the impact on the future. So I hope that we can also discuss about the long-term discussion. And Japan, including JICA, have supported several developing countries or LDC. So we have experience, we have several cases to share with the Bangladesh government. So based on the long-term, how can I say, the plan or a vision, we can increase the discussion. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, finally, I request Dr. Masroor Riaz, Chairman Policy Exchange of Bangladesh, for his remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Hussain, today's moderator. Friends from Japan and Bangladesh, konnichiwa, good afternoon, assalamu alaikum. My sincere thanks to Embassy of Japan and CPD, first for organizing this very timely discussion, and also for inviting me to this discussion as a speaker. And please excuse my voice, I'm just recovering from a bad cold. And if I cough, please forgive me for that. Our session today, the second session, I want to elaborate on that very important topic captured by the session title. EPA, the benefits of the EPA in a time of transition. Indeed, it's a time of transition globally for the region as Asia and also for Bangladesh and Japan. I want to highlight 5 developments, globally and regionally, which has implications for Japan and Bangladesh. And by implications, I mean both risks and opportunities, and EPA comes into addressing those risks and opportunities for Japan and Bangladesh through these transitional phases. The first and foremost, many of you have touched upon that already, the impending LDC graduation. Whether it happens in 2026 or Bangladesh's, I think in my view, valid request for 2 to 3 years deferral is accepted, it is happening in the next 3 years. And as and when it happens, Bangladesh comes into a highly competitive global trade arena. Dr. Khatun mentioned in her slides how we are going to end up paying more taxes, trade taxes, or our trade access are going to be more expensive in countries which have been generally or historically duty-free for us under the LDC status. Now that creates risk for Bangladesh's exports, but that also has risks for Japanese companies. If you look at the JETRO Asia surveys for the last 3 years, consistently Japanese companies mention that if the duty-free privilege or the GSP access privilege is not compensated by an equivalent mechanism such as EPA or FTA, they are going to have to shift some of the business on cost consideration. So this is going to be extremely important for both Bangladesh and Japan. And for Bangladesh, under the LDC parameter, the market diversification issue is also important. Bangladesh's overwhelming majority of exports currently goes to United States and Europe and UK. If you combine these 3, it's more than 70%. And in a turbulent world and for general trade efficiency, it is highly important for Bangladesh to diversify its markets as well. And that's why this EPA is going to be helpful. The second issue is the reconstruction of the global supply chain. As we see over the last 8-9 years, rising costs in traditional supply chain hubs such as China, geopolitical impacts, the global trade protectionism and what it implies for, again, global historical traditional supply chain hubs like China, and Asia's own geopolitics have led to China plus one as a viable and real-time strategy for many countries, particularly also for Japan. And that's where, for China plus one, Bangladesh remains as a very valid destination, particularly for products which are in the category of low to lower mid-value, large volume manufacturing. There aren't many other countries which put up as a competitor for Bangladesh with this regard. Vietnam is operating in mid-value, Cambodia is much smaller scale, Ethiopia and Myanmar is out of the game for at least next 10 to 15 years, and that's where Bangladesh offers a very strong opportunity for our Japanese friends. The third is the Indo-Pacific geopolitical competition. The whole Indo-Pacific is emerging as the center of strategic and economic competition around the world. And that's where Bangladesh's geolocation offers huge potential with regard to regional connectivity, with regard to maritime trade, energy, Asia-wide energy trade and energy connectivity, and so on. And that's where the EPA again puts Bangladesh and Japan in a very strategic context. The fourth, the rise of regional trade blocs. Globally, this has been the case in Asia recently with RCEP coming in, and we already had ASEAN since the beginning. This has been a very dominant trend with regard to trade and economic cooperation. Unfortunately, Bangladesh is neither a member of ASEAN nor RCEP. Now that's where I think FTAs, EPAs with very developed economies such as Japan can get Bangladesh actually minimize the disadvantage that it has with regard to not being a member yet for blocks like ASEAN and RCEP. Fifth one, I think the Japan-Bangladesh bilateral relationship, which is a time-tested, trusted relationship over more than 5 decades. Now, this has been aid dependent for many years, development assistance dependent. It is now moving to economic and strategic partnership. And in the economic partnerships, that's where trade and investment agenda between the two countries and the mutual benefits remain a great transition opportunity for Bangladesh. So 5 transition issues or opportunities as well as risks where Bangladesh and Japan can take advantage of this EPA. My final 30 seconds, EPA is done. Our congratulations to both Bangladesh and Japanese side, but getting it done is a first tough but first step only. Getting the benefit out of it is going to be the proof of the pudding. And that's where EPA implementation plan is going to be important. Bangladesh obviously does not have a similar capacity as Japan. That's where assessing Bangladesh's implementation capacity and providing technical assistance, which the EPA allows for, unlike a traditional FTA, is going to be important. And periodic revisiting or review of the contents as well as progress important. For instance, the current EPA does not include footwear and leather and footwear, which is Bangladesh's, on an average second or third largest export for last 15 years. Japan sources 66% of its footwear from China. So clearly there is a diversification requirement, risk diversification requirement for Japan, and there is clearly value to offer on the part of Bangladesh. So this sort of review and reconsideration, such as inclusion of footwear and leather, is going to be extremely important. So with that, let me thank you once again, and back to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much, Mr. Masroor Riaz. I think he made some very pertinent points regarding the EPA and how to maximize its benefits by both the countries. With the remarks from Dr. Masroor, we are almost finished with the panelists. Now it's time for open floor discussion, but we are running, I think, 15 minutes behind the schedule as it was planned. Now, perhaps 1 or 2 questions I can take from the floor if you have a very urgent questions. Please raise your hand and ask the question. Okay, Mr. Waris Perry.
I didn't see any hand go up, so I thought I could come in. I was on the panel, so I have already used up my time. I think, as Masroor Bhai said, it is indeed time to roll up the sleeves and get to work. And it is important, of course, the EPA provides a strong platform, but what really matters, and we heard it from other panelists as well, is not so much how you promote Bangladesh, what is that complementarity, I think is important, but real issues that address businesses. We heard about like work permits, we heard about repatriation of capital, and now I'm going to be talking a little bit about the work that UNDP is doing. We recognize that, for example, is important, and we repurpose our work because we believe at the end that's what's important. So we're working with BIDA on that, and I'm happy to report that some of these processes have been cut into half. Because at the end of the day, news travels in bits and bytes. I think it's the businesses that will experience this change in Bangladesh are going to be the advocates. They are going to go to Japan, they're going to say that things are changing. Not so much what you see in the news, they are going to be communicating to their business community, and I think it's important to continue that work. Thank you very much.
So much, Mr. Weiss. I think these are more of comments rather than questions. So with these comments, I think I want to finish this session. Thank you so much, everybody. Big applause to all. Close. Now I hand over to Dr. Fahmida to complete the session.
Closing remarks? Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Manzoor, for moderating the session, though it was not planned, but you have taken your time, and thank you, really, very aptly you have moderated. And I would like to thank all the panelists and the speakers, and also the audience and participants who have been with us since morning. Really, your participation made this session, both the sessions, very productive, and we have received a lot of inputs as well, particularly from the panelists on the papers and on the issue itself. So we look forward to your presence in our new future programs, wherever and whatever that is on. However, thank you once again for taking time during Ramadan. And today is also the last day before the holiday. And I know many of you, all of us, have pressing work at offices, but you have sacrificed that. And I really appreciate that, and I value your commitment to our programs and our events and the roundtable. Thank you very much. Have a great holiday. Enjoy your holiday and rest. Use this as a resting time. I don't know, many of you may not be able to do that, but this is an opportunity actually. And also this is an opportunity to enjoy quieter Dhaka. Okay, so advance Eid holiday, Eid Mubarak to you, and look forward to seeing you again. Bye.